Moral of the story is, I still have a little bit more room for bulking, so let me know if you think I should continue the bulk.
And so to answer Tristyn Lee's questions, should he continue to bulk? The answer is Coach Greg. In today's video, Tristyn Lee added 14 pounds of muscle in the last 2 years. And so the question is, did he do this natural? After all, he no longer has newbie gains. And so how could he possibly put on 14 pounds of muscle this late in his career?
The video you've all been waiting for. 2 years later, we're back here, Los Angeles, California, getting our body fat tested exactly at the same location, precisely the same location.
And so 2 years ago, he weighed in at 139 pounds and he was 4.4% body fat. I remember he did hydrostatic or underwater weighing to determine his body fat, as well as I used my laser eye. I said, this guy, he's under 5% body fat. Lo and behold, 4.4%. But if you remember, Tristyn Lee had one of the most ridiculous diets in the world. He was all about the carnivore diet. I'm avoiding carbs, eating all the crazy animal meats, and so he had one of the strangest diets in the world. All the while only eating about 1,800 calories and doing a shit ton of cardio. The guy was going for walks, doing 20,000+ steps every single day, oftentimes doing 2-a-day workouts. How could he possibly reach his genetic potential while overtraining and under-eating calories? And so many people have the false assumption that I tell everybody you should never bulk, that I'm all about maintaining single-digit body fat, that everyone should perhaps be 5% body fat, and that if they just starve themselves more, that they would look proper. But that's because people are a bunch of morons. They're idiots. They don't actually watch my videos. They just see a title and assume whatever they're going to assume. And so I've never stated that people should be single-digit body fat. In fact, I preach the opposite. And so if you're watching this video right now, what number am I going to say? 15% body fat. For some people, they can be as lean as 10, others perhaps only as high as 20. What's important is that you're at a healthy body fat percentage for you, and for Tristyn Lee, absolutely not. There's no possible way that he felt healthy at 4.4%. It's simply not enough body fat to live a normal life. And so yeah, he was able to do it. He was functioning, but at what cost? Imagine how much his testosterone levels would have been suffering being that lean all the time. And so after careful reflection, after doing tons of research, he finally made the decision, it's time to bulk. I've quite literally made videos saying Tristyn Lee should be on a bulk. He should be trying to gain weight, should be increasing his calories. And so lo and behold, he did it. He finally woke up, smelt the coffee, decided to drink it, and perhaps up some calories as well. And while he was at it, he added in some carbs. Carbs, people! You don't need to be a carbophobe.
I've been pushing my food pretty hard. It's been up to like 42 to 45, anywhere in that range, 100 calories. And I'm up about 25 pounds since the last time, 25 to 30 pounds.
And so after 2 years, his weight was over 163 pounds. That means he gained over 24 pounds in only about 2 years. And remember, he's only about 5'3", he's very short. And so that is a significant amount of weight to gain in 2 years. Oh, it's so much weight. Had to be steroids. Why would it have to be steroids? If you're starving yourself all the time, you're not allowing yourself the nutrients, the energy to build muscle. And so when suddenly you actually eat enough and you stop overtraining and he in fact hired a coach, then of course you're going to put on muscle. And so although he was well past the stage of having newbie gains, he still had newbie gains left in the tank. If you've been starving yourself for years and you suddenly eat an appropriate diet, you will not believe the amount of gains you can make.
The most accurate method, I think, is within 2%. I know all these people like to do their DEXA scans and calipers and all this different stuff, but we do the best, okay? The most accurate method to see how fat I actually am.
And so he did the hydrostatic weighing, and of course, he could have also just asked Coach Greg. I would have said, you're about 10% body fat. Based on what I'm seeing with my laser eyes, you're about 10%. Could have used that for his calculations, but decided to do hydrostatic weighing, which is very similar in accuracy to Coach Greg's laser eyes.
So I thought I was 13. I'm always a few percent off. I thought I was about 13%. This shows that I'm 10.6%.
And so was he as lean as last time? Of course not. He was in a bulk. He was eating 4,000 calories a day for the last 4 months. And so by being in a calorie surplus, it gave him the extra energy he needed to build muscle, but also he had enough calories to increase his body fat. And so what would that do? Well, aside from giving him more energy to build muscle, it also increases testosterone. You could, of course, take something like G-test or 3-test, which has been known to increase testosterone by up to 200 to 400 nanograms per deciliter. That would be one way, but obviously a better way is to eat more food. If you're starving yourself and not getting enough micro and macronutrients on a keto diet of all things, perhaps carnivore, then of course it's going to be very difficult to build muscle. But if you eat a proper balanced diet from all food groups, including fruits and vegetables, meats and alternatives and so on, then of course you're going to put on more muscle.
Previously, I was 133 pounds of lean mass, and now I'm 146.5 pounds of lean mass. So that's like 13.5 pounds of muscle gain.
And so what was his total lean mass gain? He says 14 pounds, 13.5 to be exact. But I want to add this caveat. Although the test says he gained 14 pounds of muscle, most likely a lot of that muscle was in fact glycogen, which is water and carbs combined in the muscle, as well as food. When you eat carbs and you eat more food, there's going to be undigested food in your belly. And so when you do hydrostatic weighing and you gain a bunch of weight, it doesn't know that some of that weight is actually water. And so let me explain it like this. If you weigh 450 pounds, for example, Brentley G, and you're eating a lot of carbs, and you suddenly go on a carnivore or keto diet, you might lose 10 or 15 pounds of water in the first several days. It's not fat that you're losing, but it's actually water weight. Also, a lot of it can be undigested food that you're simply pooping out. The carbs, the fiber, these kind of things, it attracts water in your intestines, your colon, and so some of the weight that you're losing, it's actually water weight. It's not body fat. And so the same thing happens when you gain weight. Tristyn Lee was on a carnivore diet, 139 pounds. Suddenly he starts eating carbs. For each gram of carb that you eat, it stores 3 grams of water. And so if you were to eat 1 pound of carbs, that would combine with 3 pounds of water and allow you to gain 4 pounds of glycogen. Not to mention the extra food and fiber that's in your colon, your intestines, and you very easily could go from 139 pounds to 145 pounds without actually technically building any muscle. And so although he gained 14 pounds of lean body mass, you could argue that some of that was actually glycogen and not technically muscle, although technically glycogen is in your muscle, and so it's muscle. And so it depends on how you look at it. And so because of that, because he was on a carnivore diet and is now eating carbs, some of that muscle that he gained, it's actually glycogen, which actually looks like muscle. It makes you look more full and so on. That's why people, when they carb up for bodybuilding competitions, they eat a lot of carbs. It's so that the glycogen stores get maximized so that when they flex on stage, they'll look more swole than friggin' last time. And so although he gained 14 pounds of muscle, had he have been eating carbs in the past, rather than weighing 139, he probably would have started at 145. And so in reality, perhaps he only gained 8 pounds of lean, actual muscle, solid, dry tissue, but he also gained about 6 pounds of glycogen and water, etc.
I'm no longer sub 10% body fat, so a lot of you guys have been saying like,
oh, Tristyn needs to bulk, Tristyn needs to bulk, Tristyn needs to bulk.
and I'm like, bitch, I'm bulking, okay? It's happening.
But remember, some of that actual muscle gain was in fact water, and so I do believe he did this while being 100% natural. I don't believe Tristyn used any SARMs, steroids, anything to make these changes whatsoever. Remember, I don't know for sure, but I do believe it's certainly possible for Tristyn Lee to have gained this amount of muscle after starving himself for so long because he was eating in a calorie surplus, not overtraining, and not overdoing cardio. This plus 15 pounds next year. Swipe for current bulk shape, 25 pounds up from the first photo. And so for next year, he plans to cut down, get back to 4.4% body fat, but with 15 extra pounds of muscle. But remember, when you go on a cut, you're going to reduce your calories. You're not going to eat 4,000 calories a day to get down to 4.4% body fat. And so when you lose the weight, what you thought was all muscle, 14 pounds, oftentimes you're going to lose a lot of it because you're losing water weight. You're not actually losing muscle, you're losing water. And so if Tristyn Lee were to cut down next year, I do not believe he'll be 15 pounds of muscle bigger than he was 2 years ago. Although it says he put on 14 pounds, most likely I'm going to guess it's closer to 9. And so I do believe that in a year he could probably compete at the same body fat percentage, 4.4%, while being 10 pounds heavier. And that would be a total of 3 years adding in 10 pounds of muscle. Remember, Tristyn Lee has very good genetics. And I know you're going to say, yeah, he's short. He doesn't have good genetics. Whatever. You're just a bunch of idiots trying to make fun of him for his height. Clearly he has great genes for putting on muscle and getting lean. And so in 3 hard years of training, he's putting on about 10 pounds of actual lean, dry muscle tissue. And so if you're training at home following his journey, and you're thinking, oh, I only put on 10 pounds in the last 2 years, it's not worth it. The progress is so slow. Compare yourself to Tristyn. Tristyn is doing everything he can do possible to build muscle. He's got a coach. He's training harder than last time. He's doing everything right. And even he will have a hard time putting on 10 pounds of dry, lean tissue in 3 years of training. And so please be patient. You're not going to build a championship level physique in a matter of months and or years. It takes time.
Moral of the story is, I still have a little bit more room for bulking, so let me know if you think I should continue the bulk.
And so to answer Tristyn Lee's questions, should he continue to bulk? The answer is an astounding yes, absolutely. He's only 10.6% body fat. If he were 15% body fat, what would my answer be? My answer would be gain. If you're at single digit body fat, 10% body fat, the answer is continue to bulk. You're still very lean and you can benefit from those extra nutrients. But if you were at 20+% body fat and said, should I keep bulking? I would say no. You're too fat now. Stop eating so much. It's not beneficial for you to have 21% body fat, more so than 20. And so if Tristyn Lee continues to bulk and he gets above 20% body fat, I'm going to say enough is enough. You don't need to keep bulking. Please, please don't think that bulking is the answer for the majority of people. The majority of people are already overweight. I believe it's 69% of people in the United States are already overweight and or obese. You don't need to bulk up if you're already overweight because guess what? You already bulked. You don't need a continuous calorie surplus to put on muscle. And so if you're already fat and you're in a small calorie deficit, your body takes the fat from your belly, your legs, hips, wherever, and it uses that to combine with amino acids and water to build muscle. That's how it works. You simply go to the gym, you lift weights, it gives your body an incentive to grow. You progressive overload, aka you train harder than last time, and over time you're going to build muscle while losing fat at the same time. But if you're like Tristyn Lee and you're at 4.4% body fat or even 10.6% body fat, you eat more. And so of course you can do it 100% natural, but if you've hit a plateau, you're in your 20s, 30s, and so on, you want to build muscle faster than last time, consider taking Ecti Builder, which contains a variety of Ecti steroids to help you build muscle, as well as GO2 Max, the main ingredient, NMN, banned on Amazon and discussed on the Joe Rogan podcast featuring Andrew Huberman and others. The research is abundant and clear. It helps not only the couch potatoes, but elite level runners and so on. And so if you're looking to become a better butter burner, more energy, be able to burn more calories than last time, GO2 Max. Please click the link in the description, code Greg, 10% off, and don't forget about the free diet and training program. Please get the free training program. First and last name and email address is coming straight to you, close to 50 pages. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Let me know what you think of the video. Like the video if you in fact liked it. Watch one of those 2 bloops. And as always, the training books, the cookbook, the frickin' Circle diet book, the Harder Than Last Time clothing line, all this kind of stuff you can get it on my website, PDF hard copies. Go and check out what we have to offer. Head over there right now, code Greg 10% off. And until next time, I am out.